Hey, pay attention. Hey everyone, it's Mr. Creighton. I am flying solo today because Mrs. Klein is up in Boise with one of her daughters looking at Boise State. So good on you, Mrs. Klein. That's awesome. Enjoy the snow up there. So I'm here with you guys today to look at lesson 22, which is titled China's Contacts with the Outside World. You guys can follow along on page 299 through 305. The guiding question: how did the foreign contact policies of three medieval Chinese dynasties affect China? The vocab words for this lesson, there's four of them: maritime, Ming, Mongols, and tributary. So we're going to start with the introduction on page 299. Medieval China had contact with foreign nations and peoples. However, policies toward these contacts varied with different dynasties, including the Tang Dynasty from 618 to 907, the Mongol or Yuan Dynasty from 1279 to 1368, and the Ming Dynasty from 1368 to 1644. At times, the Chinese welcomed foreign contacts. Great cultural exchange resulted as new ideas and products flowed into and out of China through trade routes across Central Asia and on the sea. Buddhism, which originally came from India, reached its height of influence during the Tang Dynasty. Although it was foreign in origin, Buddhism became very popular in China. Many Chinese, however, resented foreign influence. In this lesson, you will learn how the Chinese both welcomed and rejected foreign contacts. Alright guys, turning the page, looking at section 1, titled Foreign Contacts under the Tang Dynasty. During the Tang Dynasty, which again was 618 to 907, China welcomed contact with foreigners. Traders and visitors brought new ideas, goods, fashions, and religions into the country. Beginning in the Han Dynasty, traders and visitors came to China by a network of trade routes across Central Asia. The routes followed by the caravans are known collectively as the Silk Road, though many goods besides silk were traded. For a time, travel along the Silk Road became unsafe because of fighting in Central Asia. The Tang Dynasty made travel safe again by taking control of much of Central Asia. Merchants, missionaries, and other visitors also came to China. Thousands of Arabs, Turks, Persians, Tibetans, Indians, Jews, Koreans, Japanese, and other foreigners lived in seaports and in Chang'an. All of these foreign contacts brought about much cultural exchange. The Chinese sent their silk, porcelain, paper, iron, and jade along the trade routes, and in return they imported ivory, cotton, perfumes, spices, and horses. The Tang Chinese, especially the upper class, welcomed new products and ideas from foreign cultures. They wore rubies, pearls, and other jewels, and they drank from goblets made of glass, a material that had previously been unknown in China. Sitting in chairs from Central Asia instead of on the floor cushions became a status symbol. Chinese music was greatly influenced by melodies and musical instruments from India, Persia, and Central Asia. New religions also came to China, which the Tang Dynasty tolerated. The Indian religion of Buddhism had come to China hundreds of years earlier, but it was a major part of Chinese life under the Tang Dynasty. Many Chinese became Buddhists. Buddhist monks and nuns paid no taxes. They ran schools, public baths, hospitals, and lodgings for travelers. Monasteries accumulated great wealth. All right, looking at changing attitudes now. Toward the end of the Tang Dynasty, foreigners and their beliefs became less welcomed in China. The government placed restrictions on foreigners when a people called the Uyghurs, began attacking China from across the border. The wealth of Buddhist monasteries also brought resentment, with some claiming that people became monks just to avoid paying taxes. In addition, influential Chinese began attacking Buddhism as a foreign religion. Despite this distrust of foreigners, the Chinese continued to trade with other lands. By the end of the Tang Dynasty, trade was being taxed and shifted from the Silk Road. Thanks to the compass and improving shipbuilding techniques, overseas trade continued to thrive during the Sung Dynasty, 960 to 1279. All right, now looking at number 2, foreign contacts under the Yuan Dynasty. The Sung Dynasty came to an end when the Mongols conquered China. Recall that the Mongol leader Kublai Khan became emperor of China in 1279. He called his dynasty the Yuan Dynasty. Under the Mongols, foreigners ruled China for nearly 100 years. The vast Mongol Empire stretched clear across Asia. Traveling along the Silk Road became very safe. The Mongols also developed a far-reaching maritime trade. by welcoming traders and other foreigners, the Yuan leaders encouraged cultural exchange. They respected merchants and actively promoted trade. Some of the foreign visitors who traveled the Silk Road from Europe to China were Christian missionaries. They wanted the Chinese to convert to Christianity, and they also wanted Kublai Khan to form an alliance with Europeans against the Muslims. Both goals failed. Sea trade also flourished under the Yuan emperors. Ships from India brought diamonds and pearls. Ginger, cotton, and muslin came from Ceylon, which is now Sri Lanka. Many foreigners who came to China brought special skills. Muslim architects, for example, built the Yuan capital of Dadu, which is today's Beijing. Persians brought their advanced knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and water management. Muslims and Persian doctors established new hospitals. Foreign contacts also allowed skills and information to flow from China and spread to other parts of the world. Europeans, for example, learned about Chinese inventions of gunpowder and printing. Foreigners enjoyed high status under the Yuan rulers, and foreign merchants, in particular, were given special privileges. Unlike Chinese merchants, they could travel freely and did not have to pay taxes. Kublai Khan appointed many visiting foreigners to official positions in his government. The most famous was Marco Polo, a young Italian merchant and adventurer who traveled throughout China. When he returned to Italy after 17 years, he dictated an account of his experiences to an author who wrote a book about him. The tale of Polo's travels gave Europeans first-hand knowledge of China and further stimulated interest in trade. Under Kublai Khan, life was more pleasant for Mongols and foreigners such as Marco Polo than it was for native Chinese. The Chinese were at the bottom of the social order and resented restrictions placed on them. All right, guys, looking at Section 3 now. Foreign contacts under the Ming Dynasty. The Chinese eventually rebelled against the Yuan. From 1368 to 1644, the Ming Dynasty ruled China. Although foreign contacts continued, later Ming rulers tried to isolate China from foreign influences. The Ming Dynasty saw China as the oldest, largest, most civilized, and most important country in the world. Other nations, they felt, should acknowledge China's superiority by paying tribute. Under the Ming, many countries were China's tributaries. Tributary is a conquered country or territory that pays tribute to the conqueror. The Chinese emperors acknowledged their rulers, provided military help, and allowed them to trade with China. Emperor Shengzhou, who came into power in 1409, wanted more tributaries. He gave a trusted advisor, Zheng He, the title of Admiral of the Western Seas. Zheng He was to display China's power, to give gifts, and to collect tribute. In 1405, Zheng He set off with a fleet of more than 300 ships, which was the largest fleet in the world at the time. It carried about 28,000 men, including sailors, soldiers, translators, merchants, and doctors. On these ships, they had tubs of soil for growing vegetables and fruit on board, as well as large watertight compartments that were converted into aquariums to hold fresh fish for the crew. Zheng He made several expeditions between 1405 and 1433. Later on, when we get into our Zheng He hyperdoc, you guys will see how much bigger Zheng He ships were than to those of other Europeans, like Christopher Columbus when they were exploring. Zheng He ships returned from his voyages laden with precious cargo. When Zheng He died in about 1434, a new emperor ruled China. The government needed money to fight off attempts of the Mongols to retake control, and scholar officials persuaded the emperor to stop the expensive expeditions. From that time on, the dynasty turned inward. Ming rulers wanted to protect their people from foreign influences, so they forbade travel outside of China. The Ming dynasty and its scholar officials wanted a strong, unified state based on a single ruler and traditional values. The high and complex government bureaucracy was staffed by scholar officials chosen by examinations. Peasant rebellions helped to bring down the government in 1644, finally ending the Ming dynasty. All right, guys, lesson summary. In this lesson, you learned that medieval Chinese rulers welcomed or rejected foreign contacts at various times depending on the policies of the particular dynasty. Foreign contacts under the Tang. During the Tang dynasty, ideas and goods from other places flowed into China. Buddhism imported from India became very popular. Eventually, however, many Chinese came to resent foreigners and foreign influences. Foreign contacts under the Yuan. Coming from outside China themselves, the Mongols of the Yuan dynasty promoted trade and gave foreigners important positions in the government. Cultural exchange flourished. At the same time, the Chinese began to resent their non-Chinese rulers. This attitude lasted long after the Yuan dynasty was overthrown. Foreign contacts under the Ming. Under the early Ming rulers, China collected tribute from other lands and undertook great maritime expeditions, such as those led by Zhang He. Later Ming emperors, however, tried to close China off from foreign influence, even forbidding Chinese people to travel abroad. Alright, looking at that guiding question again. How did the foreign contact policies of 3 medieval Chinese dynasties affect China? And one last time the vocab. Maritime, Ming, Mongols, and tributary. Air hugs.